Hey, what is up, you beans? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today is the start of a new series, sort of an introduction episode to what I'm going to be doing. This is going to be a beginner's guide to ARK, but we're going to show you, and by we I mean me, I'm going to show you how to tame every creature in ARK. So obviously, excluding the ones that can't be tamed, but how to get every creature in ARK. We're going to do that in a complete series, every creature, even the crappy ones like dodos. And it's going to be a beginner's guide to ARK. Now, as we get further on, it might be a little bit more advanced for people that are not beginners in ARK, but they just want to know how to get like reapers or the best way to get wyverns and stuff like that. We'll work our way up to that. So there's not going to really be a huge structure to this series. We're going to be doing small dinos first and working our way up. I'm just going to try and get the ones that are beginners. So behind me right now are two creatures, and I'm just going to show you the 3 different methods to getting dinos in ARK. Now the third method sort of gets like, it's composed of a lot of different ones. If you find yourself liking this video, or you find it helpful, or if you find this series helpful, there's up in the top right corner there should be a little exclamation mark. View the playlist, and as I update this series, you will get more and more videos out. And if you're a beginner, just watch all the videos and you'll find out how to tame stuff in ARK. Like I said, this will be a base one, so if you find it useful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. So first of all, taming creatures. There's 3 methods, in my opinion, how to tame a creature. For example, this guy right here is a power sword. To tame this power sword, you'll have to knock it out. And you can do that in multiple sets of ways. And we'll get into more depth in a second. The second way is passive taming. This is a mosh tops, and it's a passive tame. So you don't have to knock it out and put food in inventory. You can just walk up behind it and press a button and put food in your last item slot, walk up to it and be able to feed it, and eventually it will tame. We've got these guys that will assist with knockout tames, and you've also got the final one, which is stealing eggs or special. This is the third method. For example, wyvern eggs, magbasaur eggs, rock drake eggs. Obviously, you steal them, you hatch them. Dionicus are the same. You steal and hatch the eggs, and that's how you get your own. Reapers, you have to get impregnated. Bloodstalkers, you have to sort of like you have to tribute a creature and then let it eat you with blood bags, and you tame it with blood bags. So we're going to be covering all them as well at a different episode, but for now, let's get into the basics. So knocking a creature out. If you're just starting out in ARK and you want to know how to get your first tame, basically you need to knock it out, and there's multiple ways to do this. So we're going to be demonstrating on this power sword today. So first of all, you can, if you're early game, it's a low level power sword, or if it's a low level dodo, you can start smacking them with your fists, and eventually it will add a thing called torpor. Now, when a torpor bar reaches max, each dino's torpor bar is different, and depending on the level, that creature will like get unconscious, and in the unconscious state you can chuck food in its inventory and you can start to tame that creature. So let me just walk over a few things. So at first you have clubs and stuff. That's early game. So if we go into this right now and type in clubs, level 8, you can get yourself a wooden club. At level 21, which is effective, but it's not the best. And you can also get bowlers to help trap smaller creatures, and chain bowlers for bigger creatures. But I'll get into that more so on individual videos, not right now. So club is a decent way if you're low level, but if you want to really progress and tame and have a wider range of things to tame, you want to start getting these sort of items. So right here, you can get a normal bow or a crossbow, and you want to make yourself trank arrows and you do that with getting a normal arrow and a narcotic. So if we type in here an arrow, so you would normally make an arrow with flint, fiber, and thatch. Then to make a trank arrow, you just add a narcotic. To make a narcotic, you need narco berries and spoiled meat in a pestle and mortar. So if you type in pestle and mortar, as you can see here, it is 65 stone and hide. Once you open up that, you chuck in some narcotic berries, which you get from plants, which I'll show you in a second, and then you put in some spoiled meat, which you'll get from killing dinos and letting it spoil in your inventory. A quick tip for that, if you want a quick tip for that right now, as you can see, we've got some spoiled meat here, and it's got a spoil timer, 30 odd seconds, 3 minutes and 30 odd seconds, and there's a stack of 13. So if I right click on that and split stack by all, it'll be different on console. That will split it into all stack. And all this will run out in 3 minutes, and you've got yourself a bunch of spoiled meat right there. So I recommend you do that. It would be easy if you had a dinosaur to kill dinos to get the meat, but you could do that. Now, narcotic berries you can get just from collecting. In early game, you just want to run up to a bush, and you want to just keep collecting berries, and eventually, as you can see, we're getting berries on the side of the screen. We haven't picked up any narcotics yet, but we're picking up stim berries and tinta berries and all that. And eventually, you'll pick yourself up some narcotic berries, which look like this. And you can feed that to a dino to keep it asleep, or like I said, you can combine it in a pestle and mortar to make these narcotics, which you can combine with arrows to make trank arrows. And that would be the easiest way at first to trank out dinos. Next way is to get normal trank darts. Now this is a long time after. You're level 60 odd by the time that you unlock trank darts, and you can use that with conjunction with a long neck rifle, which will knock out dinosaurs considerably much faster, as well as these ones, which are tranquilizer darts and a pheromone dart, shotgun and pheromone darts. So that's pretty much quickly gone over everything there. I do want to try and go as in-depth as possible, so this video might be a little bit long. So let's just show you straight away how to knock out a dino first of all. So we're going to use the tranks and the crossbow first, and then we'll take over with the long neck. Now as you can see, we've got two long necks here. We've got a coloured one and a normal one. Now, you can get different variants of weaponry, which will help you knock out stuff more. So as you can see, this is an ascendant long neck, which you'll get from killing bosses or just from like drops from the sky. You have a chance of getting yourself a rarer weapon. And the higher the damage that the weapon does, so if I equip this to it, so normally a long neck would shoot bullets, but we're equipping the trank darts. And now, if I was to use this one with the 381 damage, it will do not only more damage to the dino, it will do more torpor damage, which is what we need to knock out the dinosaur. Like I said, if you remember at the beginning, torpor increases the more that you hit it and stuff like that, and you want the torpor to hit max for it to be unconscious. So for example, I can show you this with a magnifying glass that we've got in our inventory. So you can see here we've got a magnifying glass, and we're going to go up to this guy and right click, and that bottom bar is the health, top bar is torpor. It's got 1,700 torpor. So if we went to hit this guy right now, 11 torpor, and as you can see, it's going back down, and it will flee. Because if it's an aggressive creature, obviously it will attack you if you hit it, or if it's just aggressive in general, it will come after you. But this guy's a passive creature; it won't attack you; it will just keep fleeing. So this is why I've got it trapped like this. And you saw that went up a little bit. So if we changed it out and we put on this gun with a crossbow, the crossbow will do more damage than the bow, and we just shoot it once, and then go back to this. As you can see, a lot more, and it's rising increasingly. So let's go up to 156. So it's going to take a lot to get that out of there. So we are in creative mode, so we'll jump out. So depending on your creature is depending on how you want to trap your creature. For example, with a parasaur, you won't be able to get it in a trap like this. So you'll probably need to use a bowler, chuck it, catch it. The other ways that you can catch stuff is by building something similar like this, but instead of walls, you use door frames. Would it be the exact same setup with this? So if you attack it, it will chase after you, and you can run into here. It will follow you into here, and then you just run out the door frame, and it won't be able to get out, and then it's trapped. You could do that with most carnivores and stuff. Obviously, the bigger the creature, the bigger the trap will have to be. You can also use dinosaur gates to trap them. Loads of different methods that I'll show you. Now, these guys can be used. You can actually use tames to knock out as well if you don't want to use your guns. So, for example, the Equus, which is pretty awesome, you can use by just right-clicking, and it does this back kick, and it will add torpor every time you hit something. Now, these methods are good. I would say this guy's good for small creatures, and with this guy, the right-click is like a sting attack. If you hold down the attack button, it does like a sting attack, and that actually adds torpor as well. But these two, even though they're good, they're only really good for small creatures, because as soon as you get to big creatures, you'll have to deal with them attacking them, and they're not going to knock it out that quick, so stick to your guns. Okay, so now we've showed that off, I'm just going to knock this guy out. So we've trapped him, and sometimes that happens, you get a bullet that doesn't count. So we've trapped this guy, and we're just going to keep shooting it until it gets knocked out. Now you'll see as we're shooting it, this guy already flees, but if it was a creature that doesn't flee, say for example a raptor, the raptor will try and attack you, so you wouldn't want to stand on the edge. Normally you would stand away, there'll be a gap in the door and you can just keep shooting at it. It will try and run at you, but as soon as they hit a certain level of torpor, they'll start doing something called torpor running, which means that they'll try to run away as soon as the torpor gets, I think, past 3/4 the torpor, they'll start to torpor run. So this is where you want to trap them, because if they're torpor running, say it's a T-Rex, I'm on a hill and I'm shooting the T-Rex, and I'm actually getting the T-Rex down with torpor, but the T-Rex can't get me because I'm on the hill. Eventually, when the torpor hits a certain amount, the T-Rex will start running off, and he won't attack you no more. It will just keep running, and you have to chase that down, which could be very dangerous. So I recommend trapping, which I'll be showing you in the individual videos for each dino. So that guy's out now, and as you can see, we've got a new bar that's appeared here. You can see his health, his stamina, his hunger, and his weight. Now his hunger will start going down while he's knocked out, and this is the longest part of the process. You have to wait for the food to go down before chucking. Well, you can chuck the food in beforehand, but it just takes a long time. It will take one food every time it goes down, depending on the dino, about 50 to 100, maybe even 200 foods on the stat, and then it will take it and bite to eat, and it will go back up, and the percentage for taming will go up a little bit. Also, as you can see, we've got the torpor down here, which is slowly decreasing. So once that hits 0, this creature will wake up. Different creatures will have different torpor. Let's say Rexes will wake up a lot quicker than a Parasaur. What you want to do, let's go and get some food right now, and we'll start going over taming effectiveness, which is, I know this is a lot to take in, but please bear with me right now. So each dinosaur has a different category, right? So you could just knock this guy out and chuck berries in, any old berries. So as you can see right now, we've just got some random berries. We're going to chuck this in there right now, and he'll start to eat, and you see he's taming up a little bit, but I don't actually want it to tame, so we're going to take that out. But you see the taming effectiveness is 97.7. And it's got underneath that in brackets a plus and then a number, then level. In this case, it's plus 89 levels. What that means is a max tame creature, for example, if we got the best taming effectiveness on this, it would go up half of its level. So it would go up 90 levels, which is awesome. That's what you want. But obviously when you're first starting out, you can't get max tames. So you're going to tame it with berries, which will take this percentage down to 60, 70%, maybe 50%, which means that you're not going to get as many levels added onto your dino level, which isn't a big concern at first, but when you get into breeding and you want to get the best dinos possible. So for example, on my server, a max level is 180. On yours, it might be 30 because you might play on lower difficulty. But on max difficulty on this server, it's 180. If I tame this 180, I would want to get it, and I wanted to breed it, we'd get two 180s, a male and a female. We'd give it Kibble, which I'll talk about now, which will give it the max taming effectiveness. We'll make that level from 180 to 270, because it's 90 added on. Half of 180 added onto the level. You get both of them together, and then you can breed a creature that will come out in level 200 odd, and then that's how you can start doing mutations or that, which we're not going to talk about right now. So, just to go over Kibble, different types of Kibble. You make Kibble with a cooking pot, and I'll show you that later on. You've got crops as well. Some tames want to eat crops. If you go to a website called Dodo Dex, link down below, it will tell you all the taming effectiveness for each dino. For example, this dino is a basic dino. It will take basic Kibble, and that will give you 100% tame. But if you didn't have basic Kibble, you could just make the max Kibble, which is the extraordinary Kibble. You could just make that and just give that to everything, and it will tame it 100% effectiveness. But when you're working through the levels, you want to just take the Kibble that it needs using Dodo Dex. Hopefully this makes a little sense to you guys. So I'm going to chuck in a bit of Kibble, and you can see the taming effectiveness shoots up. The way it tames is a lot quicker, and we just tame this guy. Now it's not going to be max level, because I messed up with putting the berries in first, but it's nearly max level. This was a 99.7% taming for effectiveness, which is awesome. So that guy, if you really wanted to do, would breed. And what else does this change, really? If you get a max taming level, your stats get better. So, for example, if I got a 50... Obviously, the higher the level, the better the stat. So, if you get a max taming efficiency, your stats going to go through the roof, and you're going to get the best possible stats for that dino. Okay, so knocking out dinos is pretty much covered. That's what you need to do. You've got your weapons, you've got your types of Kibble to tame that knockout, or types of food. Like, they might request just raw meat, or they might request raw mutton. If you go to the Dodo Dex, it will tell you in depth how much meat you'll need for your rates, and what meat will tame them the best. Majority of the time when you're just starting out, you're just going to have basic veg, or basic berries, sorry, and basic meat. Raw meat, and you're not going to go for the finesse. But just to have a quick look, I won't go into details in this now, but if you go to crafted foods, in the cooking pot, which you'll need to work a cooking pot, you'll need a water source, which I could put this canteen in as the water source, and wood, and then each Kibble will need its own sort of thing. So for example, the basic Kibble needs dinosaur eggs, berries, cooked meat, fiber, two more types of berries, and the water. But it needs basic dinos for the Kibble. So, for example, dodo eggs will be the one. You can't use the T-Rex egg as the dino egg for this. It needs to be a small egg, a dodo egg. And then as you go up, obviously, you need more and more. The superior, it could be doing with arges, so you use RG eggs for that. The extraordinary would be Rexes and stuff, and the extraordinary would be like wyverns and stuff like that. And that's how you make that. But I'm not going to super depth in that right now, because I know this is going to be a super long video as it is, and it's probably going to be really confusing. So moving on to passive tame. So we knocked that guy out. This one's a lot easier to explain. Some creatures are just passive tames. They won't attack you. Well, some of them will if you mess up, but normally they'll just go on passive tame. So the horse is a passive tame. What you would do is, with a horse, you'd put a rock carrot in your last inventory like this. And when it's just in the wild, you'll sneak up behind it with either wearing a ghillie suit or crouching. And when you get close enough, it'll ask you to press E. Once you press E, you'll jump on, and it'll ask you to press E again, or whatever your corresponding key is. And you'll feed one carrot to this guy, and he'll book around and he'll run around like mad. You'll have no control of it, and it will just keep asking you to tame, and it'll keep asking you to feed it rock carrots after it's hungry, and eventually it will tame. That's 100% taming effectiveness on a horse. This guy right here, taming effectiveness, the moss chops, if you go up to it, it tells you what it asks for. So it needs a medjoy berry in the last slot. A lot of dinos will just tell you that they need a berry. So let me just get some medjoy berries. So I've dragged my medjoy berries to the last slot, and I'll go up to it now, and it's going to say press E to feed the medjoy berry to the moss chops. Now this should only take one. There we go. One because it's a low level, and this guy's tamed. And that was a passive tame. I didn't have to knock it out. I didn't have to chase after it. Other ones that you need a passive tame, like the Gigantopithecus, which are the monkeys, and just the normal monkeys as well. Quite a lot of dinos need passive tames, but some of them will attack you. For example, the Gigantopithecus, you got to tame in berries. The same medjoy berries as well. You got to tame medjoy berries. You go behind them and you press E to tame them. They'll eat, and then you'll just keep following them, and eventually say press E to tame. But if you touch them, they'll turn around and start attacking you, and you'll lose taming effectiveness. So it's a learning curve for each one of them. But like I said, I'm doing the series where we're going to show you how to tame each creature. Eventually we'll get to them creatures, and I'll show you how to do it. Now the last way to tame stuff is through special creatures essentially. You get their eggs, or you got to do something special. So just for example of this one, wyvern egg, you go to the wyvern trench or the rock drake trench, which is where all the wyverns and rock drakes will live, and you go steal eggs. Extremely dangerous. It's pretty much towards like mid game, end game, depending on your experience. And that's how you're going to get yourself these eggs. So you go into the trenches or into their nests, you steal the eggs, you bring them back to your house, and you'll have to make air cons so you can hatch the eggs. So for example, if we chuck this down, it might not be enough air cons. You'll chuck this on the floor. Okay, I've got a glitch on this map where I can't chuck eggs that have spawned in on the floor. But basically, you chuck it on the floor and it will give you a health bar and an incubation bar. You want to make sure that the health bar isn't moving down, and the incubation bar will be going up. It will give you a diagram on there saying too cold or too hot. And you just add more air cons. Air cons will do everything. Just add about 4 air cons into a room and it will hatch. And then as they're raising up, they will need special items. For example, wyverns will need wyvern milk. They won't eat meat as babies. You have to feed them wyvern milk. So you have to trap a female wyvern, knock it out, and steal the milk. I know that sounds quite scary. Rock drakes need venom, so you need to kill Nameless, which is an aberration creature. Don't worry, we're going to show you all of this. But that's an absolute basic. Like, this video is 20 minutes long, and I have just covered the basics of taming. Hopefully, as a beginner, you understand how taming works. And this series, we're going to go through every creature and how to tame it. So make sure you save the playlist, follow the channel, and stay up to date with how to tame these creatures. And we'll get you from a novice on ARK to an expert in no time. Thank you all for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to become a human being. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day. Peace.